What's up guys, Eronius here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. In today's video, I'm going over FIREHEART right here. FIREHEART is a new mythical champion. I haven't gone over her at all because I just haven't had the time. And so I'm going to be going over her base form and secondary form. She's going to be the reward for beating hard hard faction wars, excuse me. And of course it's going to take a very long time for you to get her, so you'd have to play this game for multiple years just to get her. I would assume at least a couple of years, maybe a year and a half for those who are going crazy or have already played the game or have a very big amount of experience in the game. Will be able to get her a lot sooner if they're creating multiple accounts. But for those of you who are tuning in, who are mid-game, maybe late game, she's going to be a little bit more challenging for you to come by. But if you're an end-game player like myself, this champion you're going to get fairly quickly because you probably have been farming a lot of live arena. You have pretty much completed half or maybe even all of the area bonuses for the faction wars already. So if you're one of those players, you're going to get her fairly quickly. But anyways, I digress. Let's go over her kit. She is a Force mythical champion. Fantastic. Obviously, mythicals are extremely hard to come by, so a player like myself that's free to play, I would love to have a mythical. Keep giving me those free mythicals as much as possible. Well, at least there's a caveat. She's free to obtain, but not easy to come by. So Burning Zale on the A1 places an extra hit if the target's under any debuffs, has a 25% chance of granting an extra turn. Very strong A1 with a 25%. If you put her in a Relentless set, damn, that's really strong. So that kind of screams PvE and PvP in my opinion, kind of a mix of the two. But she's going to be amazing anywhere in the game so far with just this ability. Attacks one enemy 3 times on the A2, Faithful Conflagration. Each hit 25% chance, ignores 25% of the target's defense. Each hit will ignore 50% of the target's defense instead if the target is under HP burn or a freeze debuff. So you're going to be pairing her with HP burners, Ninja, Artak, other random HP burners that you could throw out there. Could be Crypt King Grawl. Crypt King Grawl does come to mind. Could be paired well with her. Could be very strong. He places freezes and burns at the same time potentially. So Crypt King's 8-3 attacks all enemies and places a freeze debuff for 1 turn and an HP burn for 3 turns on targets that are already under HP burn, and the HP burn cannot be resisted. So very strong pairing with Crypt King Grawl. I don't really foresee him coming out of the vault that often as a super meta pairing with her, but for those who don't have crazy meta champions, maybe he does. I think there's going to be a lot of really quick speed run dungeons with her potentially. I don't know. It really depends on how crazy her damage is. But each hit also destroys the target's defense and resistance by 3%, stacks up to 30% with this A2 of hers. Places an HP burn debuff on all enemies for 2 turns if the target is killed by this skill. So she could end up being really strong in Spider's Den. Especially normal mode, she could just crush it. But honestly, if you're going to be going into hard mode faction wars, you've probably already gotten past all the dungeon stages for Spider. You're probably onto hard mode stage 10. So I don't really foresee that being an issue. This debuff cannot be resisted. Okay, so halfway decent. Books down to a 3 turn. Super hard to come by with mythical books though. On the A3, attacks all enemies. This attack deals single target damage to each target individually rather than AoE. So that reminds me of Mashaled. Mashaled is a undead champion. He does attack one enemy, then all enemies, and it's considered single target damage as well. Will ignore shield, block damage, and unkillable. That's pretty crazy. Shield, block damage, and unkillable. There's so many champs in the game that place unkillable, shields, block damage on themselves. The most annoying person that comes to mind is Odin right off the bat. If she hits hard in this base form, man, she could be a nuisance to Odin players, which is phenomenal. I love that because I hate Odin with a passion. And instantly activates HP burn debuffs on all enemies. Very strong as well. Places a block revive debuff on targets that are killed while under an HP burn or a freeze, so she can be paired really well with Crypt King Grawl potentially in arena with Sulfurion. Obviously, Sulfurion is extremely hard to come by. She can be paired with Gizmak, also extremely hard to come by. So the really good meta HP nukers are so hard to come by. I guess they don't have to be nukers. Sulfurion's not necessarily a nuker, he's a support, but he feels like a nuker because he just strips off all of your stone skin, and then you put him in that good blessing that boosts the HP burn damage, and he's practically a slight nuker. And paired with her she's going to be phenomenal, in my opinion, based on the kit. So places in the block revive, not bad. Also on a 3-turn cooldown if she's booked. And then of course she metamorphs, grants an extra turn there. The passive on her base form. This champion deals 25% more damage against enemies under HP burn or freeze debuff. This champion deals 100% more damage against enemies under HP burn and freeze debuff. Okay. Huh. Wow. Got it. Okay, so that's actually really good. But that's a hard setup. That's really good, but it's such a hard setup, to be honest. I'm trying to think of like how you could even set it up. You have to have Sulfurion. You have to have someone to freeze like Noelle, potentially. But then again, people are going to have stone skin, so you have to strip the stone skin first with Sulfurion. So if you don't have Sulfurion, it's like really difficult to get this setup to work. Now you can probably get the 25% more damage more often than not, but the 100% more damage is very difficult in PvP. In PvE, that's a different story against the waves. So she could be a good wave clearer, but in PvP, obviously this is a free mythical. She's not going to be dominating like the meta mythicals, right? This champion ignores the damage reduction granted by freeze. Wow. 100% ignored to freeze? This is the only champion with this specific kit or specific passive in the game. That's absurd. That's absolutely absurd to me. I really like that a lot. And then the auras increase ally attack in arena by 40%. Not bad. So let's take a look at her secondary form. Defense based. Well, her primary form, is it also defense based? It's attack based. So she's going to be based off attack and defense. Okay, so you got to build a lot of defense and a lot of attack on this chick. So we'll see what happens, I guess, when she comes out and people start getting her. The first hit here, or the first ability, attacks when an enemy. Places a 50% ally protection buff on a random ally except this champion for 2 turns. If the randomly selected allies under ally protection already, places it on another randomly selected ally. Heals this champion and any allies under ally protection buffs. The value of the heal is proportional to this champion's defense. That could be disgusting. You know, it could be very high if this proportion is similar to someone like a Valkyrie with her big HP shield or something like that. This could be strong. This could be strong. Then on the A2, places block debuffs and a strengthen on all allies for 2 turns. Places an ensnare debuff on all allies or all enemies for 2 turns. This debuff cannot be resisted. Ensnare. I'll have to look into the ensnare. I'm going to watch a video on that as well right after I go over these kits. So stick around to learn what ensnare is if it's in the video. If it's not in the video, I'll take a look in game, but I doubt that it's in game yet. This debuff cannot be resisted by enemies under HP burn or freeze on a 3-turn cooldown. On the A3, Iceblade Tempest attacks all enemies before attacking, places an intercept stack on all allies, places a freeze debuff on all allies, or rather all enemies, for 1 turn, and it can't be resisted. So she seems pretty damn strong so far. Does she even need accuracy? It doesn't seem like she needs accuracy at all. Because if she kills somebody, she doesn't need accuracy on the first form. And then on this one, ensnare, the debuff can't be resisted. Oh, if enemies are under HP burn. So if their enemies are already under HP burn or freeze, then she does need, or doesn't need accuracy. But if they're not under HP burn or freeze, she does need accuracy. So, that could be a little bit challenging. Obviously, if you're trying to go for a setup, you want someone to go before her. Like I said, Sulfurion, Noelle, they're placing the freezes first. but then consider that everybody uses Stone Skin, or most players use Stone Skin. So you kind of need the HP burns. That's going to be more effective in my opinion. Yeah, still challenging to use unless you have the meta champions with her. And then attacks all enemies before attacking. The intercept is really strong on all allies. Yeah, so I think the freeze places a freeze debuff on all enemies for one turn. It cannot be resisted. So the issue with the freeze, if you don't go with any accuracy, is that she's going to place the freeze for one turn, and then the enemies are going to take a turn. The freeze is going to drop off, and then she can't go back into like the frozen tendrils and guarantee the ensnare. So unless she gets an extra turn somehow, but I mean, likely that's not going to happen unless you put her in Relentless, or if I'm not mistaken, Merciless 9-piece could potentially get an extra turn, but I wouldn't bank on it at all. So you probably want to pair her with someone else that can debuff. And then metamorphing, okay, extra turn. Passive, allies under a freeze debuff receive 90% less damage. That's pretty strong. So she's good against champions that place freeze. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. Active effect once per round. So that's it. One time. If you're in PvP, one time per wave. Revives an ally, including this champion, with 100% HP. Places a freeze debuff on the revived ally for one turn. This debuff cannot be resisted or blocked. Increase attack in all battles by 40% for an aura. I think that this is an okay passive. She has to be paired with a really good support champion next to her that can still revive. I think she'll be insane pairing with Marichka because of her passive. So Marichka's passive with her passive, it goes nuts. Because Marichka's going to revive everybody. She's going to revive Marichka. Marichka places a freeze on herself. Marichka takes less damage. She can't get killed right away. Everybody else dies, like your damage dealers. Then they come back to life. And if Marichka dies again, then she revives. It's like a kind of never-ending revival almost. And then put Sun Wukong could be pretty nasty and pretty annoying. So yeah, this is a very strong champion in my opinion. She's definitely PvE. She can be used in PvP as well. I think she'll be good in Hydra and also in Chimera. She'll be decent as well. Let's take a look at the video by Plarium and see what they've got going on with the new Faction War stuff.
Hey everyone, it's time for another update preview video, and this time we're covering Faction War's new hard difficulty. There are new rewards and reworked bosses, so sit tight and let's dive into it. You're already familiar with the concept thanks to the introduction of hard mode dungeons. Select the harder difficulty and you'll get greater rewards for completing stages. With Faction Wars, the crypt stages will be far more challenging. But you won't unlock it until you've completed Faction Wars on normal difficulty and recruited Lydia the Death Siren. If more
I mean, that makes sense. Pretty obvious. You gotta be able to beat normal difficulty to unlock hard mode, so that makes sense.
Factions are released in the future, though, anybody who's already unlocked hard difficulty will retain access to it. You'll just need to clear the new faction's normal mode before you can access it on hard. Oh, and you'll be able to enter Faction Wars on hard using the same crypt keys. Good thing the Crypt Keepers haven't changed the...
Thank God they didn't add energy to this, because that would be ridiculous. Thank you.
Locks. The schedule will also remain the same across both difficulties, so no confusion there. And that's all there is to the basics of Faction Wars on hard difficulty, but there's a bit more than tougher enemies for you to contend with. First up, there's a separate chain of rewards for Faction Wars challenges on hard. It won't be quite as simple as before to get them, though. Clearing a stage with no losses will only net you 2 stars instead of 3 this time around. That 3rd star will have stage-specific requirements attached to it, which you'll be able to check on the team selection screen for that stage.
Place 10 plus provoke debuffs, which I would assume that means provoking the waves alongside the boss as well. So you're going to be placing as many provoke debuffs throughout the waves, and that's where you're going to get your 10 plus provokes if possible. You're going to want to use a provoke set for that. It's going to be fairly easy if you have a provoke sets available.
Or in the info pop-up on the team selection window before diving into battle. Tap the 3-star conditions drop-down menu, choose the faction you need, and check the challenges for that faction crypt.
This is extremely helpful, so remember this. Look at the frequently asked questions or like the challenges, war challenges. This is great. Stage 1. Okay, so every single stage has a faction war challenge. Wow. That means you're possibly going to be swapping gear around a lot. It's kind of like Curse City in terms of gear swapping, but you're going to want to utilize those 1 hour re-gears and those 3 hour re-gears and the free re-gear events in order to beat this. If you're free to play or very low spend and don't have much silver, or just don't do well with conserving your silver resources. So let's keep going here.
Some stages will require you to manipulate enemy skill cooldowns. Some will task you with slaying your foes without letting them heal. Perhaps you'll need to land killing blows when your enemies have no buffs. The challenges are tough, but we've chosen them carefully to suit each faction's roster of champions. Conquering these challenges will be worth it though. Clearing all stages with 3 stars in hard mode allows you to recruit FIREHEART, a brand new mythical from the Sacred Order, as well as a bunch of other goodies. We'll release a dedicated champion spotlight to showcase Polera's skill kit soon. Don't miss it. Oh, and remember the Tainted Bosses we introduced to the hard mode dungeons? Well, say hello to the Tainted Faction Crypt Keepers. Each one will have a particular focus that affects the battle in a different way. For example, Tainted Protector will revive his minions, buff them, and wreak havoc upon your team. Tainted Dueler, on the other hand, will reflect damage, transfer all debuffs from himself to your champions, and then...
But notice that the reflect damage doesn't seem to be unremovable. So if you can remove the reflect damage, that's great. Just be careful with all the debuffs you're placing on him.
Smack them really hard. We won't spend time here diving into their skills and the tactics you'll need to beat them, but we'll post dedicated boss guides in-game when the feature goes live. Just tap the handy icon in the team selection screen to get a helping hand. Now then, back to the rewards. You'll be able to get goodies such as artifact and craft materials that you already know and glyphs, including brand new rare, epic, and legendary rank 6 glyphs. These new glyphs will be usable on all existing stats that glyphs cover, but can only be used on rank 6 gear. The stat bonuses they provide will be greater than what you've seen before, so save them for your best gear. You'll also earn...
I was trying to pause it, but I double-clicked. But hitting a legendary
Save
gives
them for
you
your best gear.
7 to 12%. Man, the stat boosting is just going crazier and crazier. People are going to get over 500 speed champions soon. That's insane. That is insane.
You'll also earn rewards for clearing hard mode stages 7, 14, and 21 in each crypt for the first time, same as on normal difficulty. Don't forget there's also a brand new reward chain along the bottom of the Faction Wars main window to earn as you progress through hard mode. You already know about FIREHEART, but before you reach that final milestone reward, there are shards, soul stones, skill tomes, and plenty more awaiting you. That's not all though. Hard mode stages also drop relic crafting materials whenever you complete them, and not just your usual relics either. We're introducing a brand new group of relics specifically for Faction Wars.
Wow. So many relics now, it's kind of crazy. It's diluting the pool of relics insanely high. So there's going to be so many different relics that you can get, but you're mainly just going to get rares anyways. But if you happen to get a legendary or mythical, it's gonna be really difficult to get the one that you're looking for.
We'll be adding 8 new relics in total, 2 for rare, epic, legendary, and mythical rarities. Our developers had some fun coming up with this batch. There's one that'll remove all buffs from the wearer at the end of their turn, but deal increased damage according to the number of buffs removed.
The collective.
If extra turns are your thing, there's another relic coming that'll increase your chances of getting an extra turn when you've got any active skills on cooldown and the wearer's default skill. One of these new relics also comes with a fancy new debuff, which will...
This is very interesting.
Play havoc with champions that decide to use active skills. Keep your eyes peeled on our social media, folks. We'll be releasing detailed infographics detailing all 8 relics coming as part of this update. And that's everything for this preview. Don't forget to complete any existing faction crypts you've still got unfinished. Be sure to like the video and hit subscribe to the official Raid Shadow Legends YouTube.
Okay, so I mean, not bad. A lot of new things coming into the game. Super interested in hard faction wars, mainly just interested in that mythical, to be honest, and the relics, and also the rewards along the way. That's the main prize right there, and really excited to see the new glyph system, because the new glyphs start at 7 for like stats, like for haste glyphs, for example, if you can start at 7 and not worry about rolling a 3 over and over and over, man, that is going to be 10 times better. But you got to get yourself to that stage 21 to get those legendary haste glyphs. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of FIREHEART, and also what do you think of the new faction hard mode with the reward system? Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you on a video soon. Take care.